Hello. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And on this specific video, we're going to talk about how we can set a custom field within our contact records for the total number of times our contacts have been called. Now, in this particular case, I'm actually going to go and create a new process. So I'm going to go back to View All Processes, and I'm going to create a new process. This new process, I'm going to call it Total Calls. And the process is going to start when a record changes. Then we're going to go ahead and save it. And the first thing we need to do when creating this new process is we need to choose which object we're going to be monitoring. What object is going to kick this off? In this particular case, we're going to use the contact object. On the last one, we had used the task object because all of those activities were happening in the task object. But in this particular case, we're looking for a change on the contact object to start this off. So we're going to click on Add Object, and we're going to find Contact. And we're going to do this when a record is created or edited. And then we're going to save that. So that's the initial point. That's how we kick it off. And so now we need to figure out what that criteria is. So let's click on Add Criteria. And our criteria name, I'm going to set that to Last Call Date. We're going to leave it set to Conditions Are Met. And the field that we're going to be monitoring for this condition is our last call date field. So we'll select that, choose it. And for our operator, we're not doing equals. We're going to do is changed. So anytime that field is changed, that's when we want to kick this off. So anytime the last call date is changed, that means they've been called and we need to increase that number. So we're going to set the value to true. And we're going to save it. So that's our criteria, but what is our action? We're going to go ahead and add our action, and our action needs to be to update that total calls field. So we're going to choose Update Records. Action name is Total Calls. Record type, select the contact record that started the process, and the field is our Total Calls field. And for type, we're going to do a formula because it's going to be different every time, right? It's going to be different based off of what the current value is. So we're going to build a formula. And our formula is going to take the total calls field and just add 1. So whatever's in the total calls field now, we're going to take that value and add 1. So we're going to click on Use Formula. That'll add the formula and we'll save it. And that's it. So now we have created a process within Salesforce that will automatically update our total calls field every time we make a call. Now, there's one other thing I want to point out that you may need to consider when you're building this is the total calls field. You should create that with a default value of 0. That should make things a little bit easier when you're building out these formulas because Salesforce doesn't like to add 1 to a null value, but if you add 1 to a 0 value, it will work easier. You won't have to do any special formulas to account for that. But of course, with Salesforce, you can account for that either way. But if you're creating a field for total calls, I'd recommend that you set it to have a default value of 0, and that'll make your formula a lot easier to manage. And that's it for this training. Make sure you continue watching the other trainings. Bye for now, and happy dialing.